Welcome to Critter Crusades, the show about ordinary people on extraordinary missions to help animals. I'm Missy Woodward. I have a wonderful guest today. She's taken her natural career abilities and turned it into something to help animals. I'd like to welcome Sandra Lollino. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, you have an organization called Four-Legged Friends Foundation.
That's correct.
Tell me about your organization.
Well, what we do, kind of like the underlining statement, is to really educate people on the value animals are in our lives. And one of our main programs right now is raising money to help people who can't afford the veterinary care. Because what we found is one of the top 10 reasons for both dogs and cats for animals to get returned to the shelter is because people can't afford the veterinary care or the animals are put down.
Okay, so what is your background?
My background is corporate meeting and event planning. I did it for about 12 years. The later 3, I had my own business. And I had a little epiphany. My dad got really sick, and I figured life's too short. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't fulfilling enough. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a risk, do something with people and with animals, make a difference somehow. And I just started interviewing with different nonprofit organizations, found out what the needs out there, what's going on. And I thought, you know what, I could bring my skills, having my own business, doing corporate planning, into the nonprofit world, so I generated Four-Legged Friends Foundation.
So you really did some due diligence on finding out what different groups have problems with.
Right, absolutely. And what I found is funding is a huge issue in the animal community of nonprofits. Right. To be honest, I actually looked for employment thinking that, you know, I'll do it that way, and I just couldn't afford to live off of what, you know, unfortunately these people make in the industry. So I thought, okay, what can I do? And that's part of one of the things I want to do is raise money and help and actually bring the community together. So I really committed that I think if we all sit together, you know, just meet together and group together, if we work as a team, you know, more animals can be helped, more animals can be saved. And I do a large event twice a year with the Greater West LA Chamber of Commerce. It's called the Bow Wow Meow. And what I do is I bring the LA Animal Services and 3 rescue groups out there to help them, you know, adopt out their animals, their dogs and their cats, and part of the proceeds of the event helps them out as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. So let's look at some of the things about your organization, some of the different high points. Now, I have personal experience with you.
Yes, you do.
And the way I met you at an event. You were there and you were talking about what your organization does. And one day, because I do a lot with feral and stray cats, and I had a senior citizen that was in great need. She had a cat that was living outdoors that somebody had sort of dumped on her, and there were flies everywhere. Then she had an indoor cat that had a lot of problems with thyroid. And this cat just looked so horrible outside. We couldn't figure out what was wrong. And I remembered you said we can help fund things. So I got together things with this woman. She was in need financially. She's a senior citizen caring for an older senior. And then before I know it, she'd filled out all the forms. Somehow, miraculously, you came up with money, which I still don't even know how you're able to do that. Again, you know, this is the miracle of all these different groups doing what they do. Got the cats to the vets. The cat actually had a hole in its throat and had maggots living in it. I hate to be so graphic, but that's what all the flies were from. And within short order, the cat was in so much better shape and got to live out the rest of its life in dignity. And this woman was so amazed and so bowled over by this. So I kept thinking about you, thinking, you know, there are groups. I mean, every group, you know, a lot of the groups do rescue of the actual animals. But what are a lot of the missing elements in this healthcare issue? So you have what you're calling is your it's the
Another Sunny Day Fund.
Another Sunny Day Fund. Now tell me how that started.
That got started by just an average person, you know, called me up on the phone. They were referred over to me. He had a little dog, Sunny. The gentleman had just finished his chemotherapy, was unemployed. Sunny hurt his back, was really sick, and he was trying his best to, you know, help out Sunny. He just couldn't afford the veterinary care. So I ended up being kind of new to the community. I was working with a rescue group trying to work with a veterinarian to, you know, hook up this gentleman with his dog, Sunny, but it ended up being too late for Sunny. So the poor little thing had to be put down because it was just too late for Sunny. So in memory of Sunny, we created Another Sunny Day Fund.
Oh,
so that's where that started, and you know, we're always looking for funding. It's a definite need. Unfortunately, I have so many applications that I can't follow up with because I just don't have the funding.
How do you go about getting funding?
I do the Bow Wow Meow. That's one of my main fundraisers. I do have some direct mail pieces that I go out and I ask. I'm starting to, again, being new in the community, I'm starting to network and starting to get my name out there, so it's a slow process, and slowly things are starting to come in, but I'm in desperate need of money right now. Our funds are empty.
And you went and started the nonprofit by yourself? Or did you have a board of directors?
I do have a board of directors, and what's really great is, I just really feel like it was meant to be, how the community starts coming together. My neighbor belongs to a Yahoo group, LA Attorneys for Animals, and I was looking for, an attorney to help me with my bylaws because of fundraising. Want to make sure that, all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and I got my board member, Esty Miller, who does all my, legal issues and, put my bylaws together, and she's, an animal activist, and, I'm connected to with my friends. I have another friend who's a graphic designer who's on my board. She does all my newsletters, does my business cards. So it's, we kind of just came together, and that's my board. So they're helping me move along.
Isn't that great? So you did all so you've been groundwork all the way up.
Yes.
All right, when you're looking at this now, you're developing a Give Me a Paw veterinary guide. What is that?
Right, that is something where, again, I found the need is that there are people who need either veterinary care at a low cost, or they need to find the right veterinarian to match their animal's needs. So we want to put a rating system together, and I actually want to work with, I was introduced to somebody that I have yet to meet with about creating it where there's a lot of bad veterinarians out there, lawsuits are happening, and people just don't know who to go to. There isn't something that exists. So what I want to do is put together like a Zagat guide, if I can so say that, of veterinarians, so people know who to go to, who was in their budget, what area, and we also really want to help those vets that have helped us through our Another Sunny Day Fund, brought down the pricing or did free service, so they don't have to close their doors with their compassion for helping people who can't afford it, so we can bring business to them, so they can keep their doors open and continue helping, our clients as well.
Again, another missing element. Since you're not actually out there at the shelters having to worry about finding foster homes, you're able to take your expertise and be able to go, let me look at some of the, what I kind of consider the business-like areas that need to be filled in. A guide like that can be just phenomenal.
Yes.
Every rescue group can use that.
Yes, absolutely.
Every individual can use that.
Absolutely.
And it does take a lot of effort, and it takes time, and it takes money to do that.
Yes,
People don't realize just the man hours of the phone calls, keeping up with changes of addresses, emails, these kinds of things. And that's a very resourceful thing that you did out of your background to say, I'm going to create something that's a missing element.
Right.
And you talk a lot about the human-animal bond in your website, and I'm just having actually to take everything from your website because I felt the way you put it together was very informative. And you talk about how important the physical and mental influence is of animals on humans. Tell me a little bit more about that.
It's just, I mean, from my own personal experience, I have 2 little dogs, and anyone that I've met interacting with animals, they so benefit our lives. The American Heart Association did a study with pet therapy, dogs going in. They did a study with visitors with dogs, visitors with just humans, and then no visitor at all. And they just did, a 12-minute visit, and they found that the ones that had the dog visits, heart rates went down, anxiety went down, stress went down. And the funny thing is, I was just reading it today, again, to kind of refresh my memory, is that the human visit and the no visit at all, stress and anxiety increased as opposed to the animal having it decreased. And a friend of mine that I did a highlight in my last newsletter, she does pet therapy at UCLA, and she has a standard poodle, Apollo, and she went and visited this little girl who appeared to be in a coma. She can't ask, what the condition is, she just visits. And the parents were, petting the dog and just describing, Apollo. And then when she left, she got a phone call shortly after. The girl woke up asking for Apollo. And she went back the next day. Yeah, isn't that great? I get teary-eyed. It's phenomenal. And she went back the next day to visit the little girl, but she didn't need care anymore and was sent home. I mean, that's the power that these animals have in our lives.
That one's one of the ones that gets me. I've heard, obviously a lot of groups are now starting to take animals in, and they're thinking about, being able to house more animals with seniors, which is so important. But that one is waking them from a coma. That's pretty amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
I know mine wake me up in the morning, not necessarily when I want to be woken up, but that's really great.
No, that's really great, and that's another reason for another Sunny Day Fund too. Is that my intention is to grow it, to help out the seniors, to help out the disabled. If you somehow get in an accident or something and you're bedridden for a few months, I want to go in and help with taking care of, walking the dog, changing the litter box, bringing food. You're taking, the vet care, grooming, and because these animals have such a powerful influence on us. It helps with depression. I mean, it's our companions. And I don't want to pull that away from someone who's, elderly or, disabled or what have you.
Now that brings us to a very important point. You can't do any of this without that one major thing called volunteers.
Yes.
So tell me about how you go about finding volunteers and what your volunteers are like.
My volunteers are great. I've had a few volunteers there's a program at UCLA for fundraising, which I've taken many courses there, and I found volunteers that way, internship programs. And as I'm starting to grow, I'm finding people are just, I can help, what do you need, and now the Bow Wow Meow events are fully staffed, and it's starting to trickle, which is really, really great.
Oh, that's wonderful. So why don't we talk about Bow Wow Meow?
Okay.
Now you do the event twice a year,
yes,
in the fall and the spring, and you have a lot of different activities that go on there. What kind of people come there?
Well, it's in conjunction with two other events. It's in conjunction with the Brentwood Art Fair and a Health or Business Expo, depending upon what time of year. So it's kind of just a mixture of pet people, non-pet people, community people. It's just kind of a hodgepodge of different types of people. But at the Bow Wow Meow itself, we have dog agility. We have a thing that we just did, a Dancing with the Dogs competition, which is really fun. And we're going to have a pet psychic coming up this fall. And
what we should do is I have some photos from that event. So we'll go ahead and have those photos play. And you can go ahead and keep telling me about it. So you have a lot of different vendors that are already there,
yes,
but you also get vendors to come?
Yes, we have about 45 exhibit booths. And
I see your agility now going on, and some of your contestants.
That's Jack, one of the dog agility guys, and that's one of the dogs for adoption. There's a Dancing with the Dogs. Oh, there's another clip of them dancing, and then we have celebrity judges come out, and there's Coach and Angela doing their little routine, and it's pet friendly, so you can bring your dogs, and that's part of the street fair. Again, pet adoptions. There's 4 groups that come out with the LA Animal Services, and then we showcase, that's LA Animal Services showcasing their dogs. They're some of the judges, and it's very mesmerizing watching the Dancing with the Dogs competition. It's really great. And we have a silent auction, and it is on the street, so we have about 45 exhibiters.
Some get tired and they have to take naps.
Yes. Absolutely. It's a long day, but it's really fun. And it's just, I really, really enjoy doing it. And this last event, there's Coach and Angela are winners. Yep. And we had about 20 animals get adopted this last time.
Oh,
which is really great.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
and that's
it's
a main
a record
thing,
for me. So.
How do you get the next step is getting the people there, having fun, watching everything,
right,
but actually people say, wait a minute, I see my next family member.
Right. Right, and that's why we introduced the whole Dancing with the Dogs element, because that really pulled in more people. Like, what's that? Plus the animal adoptions. It was, the whole commitment of the event is to get these animals adopted and get them homes. So whatever we can do together to pull more people is, what we do. And again, that's why the Dancing with the Dogs element was introduced.
So that's great. So people get all ready with their routines every time you have the event, and they're fierce competitors. Not exactly like Best in Show, but they're not vying.
There's no rules. It's a freestyle competition, and we have Judy Gammett from Dogs Can Dance. She comes out. We have 2 workshops that people can train with their dogs, and she does the competition where no toys, no food, there's a lot of tricks, but we're like, it's all about fun, it's all about bonding with your dogs. Use treats, use toys, whatever that you can use with your animals. And I have to tell you that all the contestants have been thanking me profusely. Like, I've never bonded so much with my dog. I had so much fun.
Wonderful.
And when you watch, you start tearing up, because you can just see the bond with these, the handlers and their animals, and it's really great.
And probably a lot of these people never thought that they would do something like that with their animal, but they think, well, this animal does this cute little thing at home. Maybe I can make them do that and go in circles at the same time. And then before you know it, they start to find out that their animal really does respond to them. Their animal really does understand cues and messages and wants to communicate with them.
And please,
and
they're all about wanting to please us, and it's really fun because it's beyond just like tricks. You learn training techniques. The animal goes in between your legs. You spin around, with the animal, and then you choreograph it to music.
Oh, how
and
fun!
The fun thing is that you'll see. Well, if you come to one workshop or if you come to the event, you'll see that the animals respond to the music, and they actually in the training classes, Judy will put different songs on just to see how the dogs react, and you'll see that they'll actually pick the music that they prefer. It's really
the animals pick?
You can, because they trot or they walk, because she'll have the dog and the handler or the owner walk around just in a circle just to get the dog to respond, and you'll see them trot happier with the music that they're more inspired by. It sounds bizarre, but it works. It's really cute.
Well, when they talk about those show dogs, but these are all mutts and
just
rescue animals that are having a good time, that they know that they're fortunate to be with who their guardian is.
Yeah, exactly.
So at this event you do fundraisers, silent auction, you have that. You have other components, you have sponsorships and different things like that, so people can get on board and help support it financially to make it go off.
Absolutely.
And to also leave hopefully something in the kitty or there for you to then further your programs.
Right.
So on your different programs, you're growing and you're moving forward. Now, what is part of the pack? I know
that is something that like I said, I'm really committed. That I think if we are a whole pack, the community is a pack, the different rescue groups are a pack. I mean, if we all really collaborate and join forces, I just know that more animals can be saved, more animals can be helped, whether it's the medical care or adoptions or what have you. So that part of the pack is to really bring the community together, and what I'm committed to as well is to share my proceeds with these other organizations as well to help them expand their services, expand their programs. And what we're creating now is a networking group that we're going to start meeting once a month with the different rescue groups and the different volunteers, fosters. If you're an animal lover, you want to learn where you can volunteer, just come meet with us once a month and just start being resourceful for each other. I mean, so much more can get done if we all work together as a pack,
right.
Part of the pack.
Well, and really your energy level, every time I've been around you or talked to you or even emailed, you have such a high energy level of hope. That's kind of the message I get from you, is I see an energetic, and also, so many people that are in the rescue world have these dire situations, these animals sitting right in front of them, or these dying animals, or these animals that are sick or whatever. And you've chosen a way that works for you in your lifestyle that you can work.
Right.
And pull together other resources for other people to help those people that have those situations. That was a really smart choice on your part. And I think some people, they need to look and examine what part of their life does something like this work. Being in the animal world, where can they fit in best? What can they be most helpful with?
Right.
Like you said, the pet therapy, that could be some of the most fun things. But that's a part of rescuing, in the sense that you're rescuing people. You're helping pull animals out. I know there's people that I had one group that told me, anytime you see a great animal that's has a great scent and is very playful and can do all these things, might be a good search and rescue dog. So anytime I see one, I call this one group so that they could possibly rescue an animal out of the shelter, because they will take rescue dogs for search and rescue.
Right.
Of humans.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that's exactly what I did. It's like, what skill set, when I left my business, what do I have that I can contribute? And then, I'm, again, the whole part of the pack is to really, talk and have conversations with people. What is it that you do? What is it that you feel that's missing? What's going on, and how can I bring my skills in event planning, fundraising, that's coordinating, bringing, my background's bringing vendors and clients together, having big events. Now I'm bringing, veterinarians with owners together, and it's just, it doesn't make sense for me not to go this way.
Right. And plus, people don't have to work so hard at something that they're natural at.
Right.
And I know for myself, I'm not that natural with bottle feeding or doing different things like that with animals. I'm better in, like you're saying, the same areas that you are, and other ways as well in media and exposure.
Right.
So we have to do what fits with our lifestyle.
Exactly.
Have you had any other groups that you're sort of modeling yourself after, as far as nonprofits that might be in the nationwide or anywhere that you've met that have similar things that you're doing that have been helpful to you to move forward in what you're planning?
Yes and no. I mean, what I look at it is, I don't necessarily model after just one.
Right.
Like, I meet with so many different ones. I'm like, that's really great. I'm going to use what they're doing and apply it to what I'm doing. For example, New Leash on Life. I met with them actually before I started my nonprofit, because they're the ones that gave me the idea to starting my own foundation. And what the founder suggested to me was part of how that Give Me a Paw system became to place was original, which again, it's my intention to get this program started, is there's a lot of rescue groups that say they're rescue groups, but they're not rescue groups, and they're just pocketing people's money, and the animals are not taken care of. And I was like, what? You got to be kidding. What's all that about? And he goes, I'll give you this idea, just run with it. I'm like, fine, I'll take it, I'll do it. So that, it's like that partnership. So that's, part of the Give Me a Paw program, that down the road is where I really want to make sure that the nonprofits are doing the proper thing, whether it's a rescue, it's a pet therapy group, because I was even talking to one therapy group and said some hospitals aren't even educated with the therapy groups going in there,
Right.
The animals need to be properly trained and, certified and the whole thing, and that could be a disaster, waiting to happen. Things can happen. A little, dog can bite someone or get spooked out with a tray falling down.
Right.
I mean, there's so many things that people just aren't aware of. And so that's kind of where that Give Me a Paw came from,
So where do you see Four-Legged Friends Foundation 5 years from now?
Well, that's a good question. I see, like the Another Sunny Day Fund, like really servicing the disabled, the seniors, the elderly, and I also see us partnering with different rescue groups. I just see a lot of partnerships to really make a difference. One of the things beyond Another Sunny Day Fund is, if the elderly gets too old or they have to go to an assisted living home or a nursing home, I want to partner with the rescue groups so the animal isn't put to shelter. I can partner with rescue groups saying, look, I've got little, Fifi here that needs, the owner's going in. Can you help me? Can you take Fifi on? So I really want to, I just see us really partnering, and I really see my Another Sunny Day Fund is really, getting out there where it's like a running machine, and I'm partnering up with even like pet staffing services so they can volunteer to get in there. So I actually have vendors, again, it's the vendor, merging thing with the Bow Wow Meow. I'm learning, all the different vendors out there. If I get a pet staffing company to help with the volunteers, and I, do a guide and promote them to bring them business so they can volunteer for my clients, and that's kind of where I see it going.
So you're going to be sort of like a resource nonprofit for everything animal except actual rescue. You can
I'll refer to the.
It's a great referral source, and that to me I think is something really needed, because nobody has time to keep up with things on the internet. Nobody has time to keep up with who's gone out of business, who's in business. I know one of the main things is spay and neuter clinics. I mean, that's one of the things, is that who can keep up with who's operational, who's not, and with all the vets and different things that you're saying. That is a really important thing, and probably also you can find volunteers somewhat a little bit easier than other people in that you can find people for administrative volunteering.
Yes.
Because a lot of your work will have to be administrative.
Correct.
And that's one of the things that is really important. In these last few minutes, what are some of your goals for the animals? What would you like to wish for the animals here in Los Angeles?
For just less to be put down. I mean, it's just, I'm going to start tearing up right now. To really to just really partner up with these rescues to save them, to not have them turned into shelter because they're sick. I need so much more funding for the vet care. Oh, I didn't think I'd.
Right.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
But that's what I see is like less animals being put down, less animals getting, to the shelters, the overpopulation there. I mean, it's just crazy. I just want more animals to be saved.
Yeah, and your education. I mean, your education, going out there and educating people, your educational programs. I'm
Right.
sure that is such an important thing and a tool that you're going to be able to take out into the world that will just be, so invaluable for the people that are stuck with the animals that can't get out there.
Right.
And you present yourself so well.
That's my
So
goal.
I just think what you're doing is great, and I think everybody should get involved. And your nonprofit website is what?
FLFF.org.
And that stands for?
Four-Legged Friends Foundation.
FourLeggedFriendsFoundation.org.
Right.
I mean, well, it's a .org, but it's
acronym.
right. And that people need to look at that. They need to see what they can do to get involved.
Yes.
And volunteer. There's so many different ways, and they can get involved by, just helping and learning about what you really need.
Right.
And also have the fun at the Bow Wow Meow.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming on. You've been
Thank
such
you
a
for having
delightful
me.
guest, and congratulations. And thank you so much for helping me with my situation with that one senior. It made the world of difference to her.
Good. That's
Great.
Happy to help.
Thank you for joining us here on Critter Crusades, the show about ordinary people and extraordinary missions to help animals. Join us again next time. Go out, volunteer, make a difference in the community. Know that you can do something, even if it's one day a month, you can make a huge difference in the life of animals. And don't forget the main thing, don't litter, spay and neuter. Join us again next time. Thanks.